proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good morning. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the graduating class of 2018. There are a number of dignitaries here today for NCSSM's 37th commencement whom I would like to briefly introduce. Please hold your applause until all have been recognized. NCSSM Chancellor Todd Roberts, Commencement Speaker Billy Pizer, Chair, NCSSM Board of Trustees, Tom Williams. UNC Board of Governors member, Pearl Burris Floyd. Vice Chancellor for Academic Programs, Katie O'Connor. Dean of Science, Amy Scheck. Instructor of Humanities, Kyle Hudson. NCSSM Chancellor Emeritus, Jerry Borman. Board of Trustees members, Paula Benson, Robert Freeman, Hugh Holston, Colin Larson, Tom Looney, Bobby Maynor. Foundation Board member, Richmond Baker. Division administrators, Robert Allen, Melissa Tebow, Katie Wagstaff, Brock Winslow. Legal counsel, Mike Delafield. Registrar, Lindsay Morrison. Departmental deans, Lori Hackney, Jamie Lathan, Joe Labulio, Elizabeth Moose, Danita Robinson. Program directors, Robin Bolts, Chrissy Hewitt, Greg Jarvis, Sarah Shoemaker. Faculty Senate President, Ashton Powell. Staff Council President, Crystal Woods. Alumni Board President, Stephen Norton. Parent Association Chair, Emily Martine. Thank you.
Well, good morning to everyone. Good morning. We are happy to welcome our families and friends here today, and faculty and staff, students, members of the Board of Trustees, Board of Governors, Alumni Board, Foundation Board, Parent Association, and Dr. Pizer, as well as our honored guests of the class of 2018. Before I continue, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize all of the members of the NCSSM facilities team for transforming this lawn into the beautiful setting it is today, and to all of our faculty and staff who've worked extremely hard to plan this event, this special event for the class of 2018. I also want you to know that we have cold water stations around, as well as some cooling stations up towards Watts and Reynolds in case you're warm or feel like you need to be cooled off a little bit. I'd like to thank Dr. Pizer for being with us today to speak. For each of our graduates and students here with us today, Dr. Pizer's career is one that it should inspire each of you about to begin the next chapter in your lives as we think about our role and what we can do to help address significant problems to make our community and the world a better place. Since his graduation from NCSSM in 1986, that's what Dr. Pizer's work has been about. So thank you again, Dr. Pizer, for being with us today, and we look forward to your words of inspiration. Well, this is a beautiful morning here on the NCSSM lawn. I will have to say that over the past week, I've put in almost enough hours to get a minor in meteorology. I have been watching, I watched some weather apps I didn't even know existed. And so I am very thankful that the class of 2018 has a beautiful morning here, the beautiful morning that they deserve. I always love the couple of days leading up to commencement when classes and exams are done. The students are enjoying each other's company for the last time for a while. There are lots of fun activities on campus like the lock-in and air band, just to name a few. But my favorite thing about the end of the year is this morning for a lot of different reasons. I mean, obviously for the commencement ceremony. But for me, really, there's just for me, something that's really meaningful. I always start this day taking a drive down 9th Street because I love to see students coming and going back from breakfast, looking happy, talking to each other, well-rested. Okay, looking happy and talking to each other. And I do this throughout the year as I'm coming and going from campus. You know, 9th Street is a major thoroughfare for NCSSM students. And so this morning, I always do that because it makes me reflect back on the 2 years that we've had with the graduates. So graduates, today brings to a close this chapter of your NCSSM experience. So I hope you think back to the excitement, or I think back to the excitement and great pleasure it was for us to welcome you to NCSSM on move-in day. And now, today, the great honor it is to be able to grant you your diploma and the bittersweet experience of wishing you well and saying goodbye for now. And parents and families, I know this is a big day for you, one that you're filled with a tremendous sense of pride, and well, you should be. So I want to take this time to thank you for sharing your children with us over these past 2 years. And graduates, we're here today with a feeling of great pride for you and the accomplishment that you've made. And I know our faculty and staff are proud to have had an opportunity to get to know you and work with you, and it has been a great honor and pleasure for me. Graduating from high school marks one of the major milestones in your young lives. And I hope you have over the past couple of days or will over the summer take a little time to reflect back 2 short years ago when you made the decision to attend NCSSM. It was a bold decision, a risk of sorts. Each of you knew great success, yet chose to accept the challenge of the unknown, to accept the greater challenge as a member of the class of 2018. 315 strong from 76 different counties across North Carolina. At that time, most of you knew very few of your classmates, and here we are today, 2 short years later, and think of all you've done, the friends you've made, all you've accomplished, and how you've grown, and how our community has grown with you. You accepted this challenge, and you've added not only to your success these past 2 years, but to who you are and who you will be. Today is a time to celebrate your achievements and accomplishments thus far. Whether the accomplishments were in the classroom, in academic competitions, in research, in athletics, in the arts, or in serving the community and helping others, the class of 2018 has accomplished much and left a lasting legacy on NCSSM. You've taken home honors at major academic competitions, so many in fact that it took us 143 slides to cover them all at the award ceremony earlier this week. You've had outstanding performances on the field and court, including the state championship in men's tennis, continuing the legacy of outstanding cross-country teams, and deep runs into the playoff this year in women's soccer and baseball. More than 75% of you participated in a variety of research experiences on and off campus, as exampled by our 33rd annual research symposium, where 120 students presented their work, or through our 2 fantastic student-produced research journals, Broad Street Scientific, and Fifth World. Families, if you have not had a chance to read or look through these publications, I would encourage you to do so. They are absolutely fantastic and a great example of the quality of our students at NCSSM. You've also done amazing things through your musical, drama, and dance performances on our stage and displays of your fantastic art across the campus or in the Blue Mirror. And less formally, your artistic talents and creativity were on display in our cultural fests, Air Band, and at Coffee House, where at a recent coffee house, I was inspired. I had the chance to listen to music from my generation, the Carpenters, Leonard Cohen, and afterward I thought, hallelujah, what good taste it is in music. If you didn't get that reference, that was the Leonard Cohen song, hallelujah. And you've given back to your community. This class has done more than 25,000 hours of community service over the past 2 years here in the Durham community and in communities all across North Carolina. And your talent and hard work has earned the class of 2018 nearly $20 million in scholarship offers. Congratulations. Now, this is certainly not an exhaustive list of all you've achieved because while accomplishments are often measured in awards and medals, it's not those things that you will take with you wherever you go. It's the experience and those things you have learned and those things that have helped shape you that you will carry with you to the many new places you go. Students of your generation have been identified as justice-minded, environmentally conscious, independent, and entrepreneurial. I see all those characteristics in you, and as I reflect back on this class, what I will remember most is how these characteristics have played out in what you've done and who you are. You've had a great willingness to challenge yourselves to be your best while also challenging the NCSSM community and the larger community to be better and working to help make it so. One such example of the amazing leadership your class has provided for our community is moving us to become more sustainable. You've built on the work of previous classes and made composting a part of the fabric of how we operate in the PFM by your hard work in helping to secure grant funding. To date, we have diverted more than 40,000 pounds of food waste from the landfill because of your efforts and created more than 10,000 pounds of compost for community gardens. You've also established a sustainability garden with a cistern, a solar array, and benches, and you've helped make move-in day more environmentally friendly. You started growing vegetables hydroponically on campus, among your many other achievements. I want to give a shout out to our sustainability project leaders, accepting the Greener Challenge Club and Food Art Clubs, and our students, faculty, and staff on the SAGE committee. And in particular, I'd like to thank Dr. Linda Schmalbeck for her leadership in these efforts. I hope all of you will continue your efforts to make any community you're part of more sustainable in the future. You've also actively worked to make the NCSSM community a better place through your work on our mental health and wellness committees and the Campus Culture, Climate, and Diversity, or 3CDC committee. Your class and your junior classmates have shown such leadership in addressing two areas that we identified to be important for our community and for helping to prepare you for life after NCSSM. Creating communities that promote health and wellness and embrace and grow diversity is not only important here, it's important any place that you'll go. Through your efforts and those of future classes, I hope that NCSSM can become a model for this, and I hope that you will continue to push your future communities to address these needs as well. You've also shown great entrepreneurial spirit. Your generation is predicted to be the most entrepreneurial ever. In a recent survey, 72% of high school students said that they wanted to own their own business someday. Early this spring, we saw some wonderful examples of your interest and talents as entrepreneurs through your participation in the Next Generation Pitch Contest. We had more than 60 individuals and teams participate in the contest, and we saw your business ideas, not only innovative concepts, but also your desire to better your community and the world was evident through your work. Whether developing a nonprofit dedicated to advancing the fight against infectious diseases through research and product development, or developing a product that recycles waste from 3D printers so it can be reused, to an online platform that connects food waste producers to farmers to reduce food waste and provide healthy options for feeding farm animals. These and the many other concepts presented during this contest highlighted your entrepreneurial spirit and your desire to help improve the world. This is a powerful combination that I hope you will continue and move forward throughout the rest of your lives. Each graduate here today owes a great deal not only to your classmates, but to the many others who are here with you celebrating your accomplishment. I'd like to recognize those of you who've helped you along the way, particularly parents, guardians, family members, and friends who've helped nurtured and support you for many, many years, long before you came to NCSSM. I want to thank you for the love and support that you've shown your children. I know it's not easy to let your son or daughter leave home to go to school, in some cases several hours away, but I know you're so proud of them today. Let's give your parents and families a round of applause. And I also want to thank the teachers, counselors, administrators, and staff who've contributed in so many different ways to the success of each graduate here today. So thank you all for your hard work and caring. Along with the student support of one another, it's your talents, your mentorship, and hard work, and your support and caring that helps to create the kind of living and learning community where our students can design their own future. And thank you for all your work. Finally, I want to take the opportunity to recognize one of our retiring faculty, Dean of Mathematics, Danita Robinson, who is retiring after 30 years of service to NCSSM. Ms. Robinson, we will miss you. So again, I want to welcome everyone and thank you for being here this morning to celebrate the class of 2018. Including all of our family and friends from across the country and world who are watching on our live stream feed. It's a great day, and congratulations again, class of 2018. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Board of Governors member, Ms. Pearl Burris-Floyd, to bring greetings from the UNC Board of Governors and to recognize NCSSM's recipient of the Board of Governors Award for Teaching Excellence. Thank you so much, Ms. Burris-Floyd, for being here with us today.
Good morning. Now, I know the class of 2018 has a voice because I was in the hallway and I heard you. So let's try this one more time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Today, I bring greetings on behalf of the entire University of North Carolina Board of Governors and the UNC System President, Margaret Spellings. I would also like to recognize today's graduates, their families, and acknowledge North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics' 37th commencement ceremony. I would also like to recognize the university's distinguished faculty, staff, alumni, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Roberts, and the members on the platform today. Graduates, congratulations. You did it. We are here to celebrate you and your accomplishments. The experiences learned during your time at this fine institution will resonate throughout your life. Your education at the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics has provided you the knowledge and skills that you will need to achieve success wherever you may go in whatever you choose to do. These endeavors for the future started long before you got here. It started at home with your parents and people in your communities who supported you. And now you're here today. From what I've heard about you, I believe that our future is in great hands. You deserve to celebrate, but it is important to acknowledge the contributions of the faculty and staff from the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, especially those teachers who have helped and encouraged you and provided you with the proper guidance to succeed. There are a number of faculty members on this campus who exemplify outstanding teaching. Today, I want to recognize one of them. It is my privilege to present this year's Board of Governors Award for Excellence in Teaching to one of your most outstanding faculty members. established by the Board of Governors in 1994 to underscore the importance of teaching and to reward great teachers across the university. The award is for great teachers across the university system, and the award also is given annually to a tenured faculty member from each UNC campus. Recipients are nominated by special committees on their home campuses and selected by the Board of Governors Committee on Personnel and Tenure. Each winner receives a bronze medallion and a cash award. This year's recipient from the School of Science and Mathematics is Dr. Amy Scheck. Chancellor Roberts and Dr. Scheck, would you come forward and join me at the podium? Amy Scheck has 4 goals as an instructor of biology. Biology is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. That was my undergraduate major. The first goal is to make students feel that they are part of the scientific community by providing them hands-on experiences and empowering them with the tools and techniques to answer their own questions. The second goal is to create opportunities for students to extend their learning outside of the classroom so that students can find ways to express their interest, gain recognition, and develop character. The third goal is to create memorable experiences that arise from a classroom environment where students participate, take initiative, have fun, and rise to the challenge. The fourth goal is to bring students to the point where they can go out into the world and engage in meaningful and informed scientific discourse with college professors, scientists, and their peers. One of her students commented, "Dr. Scheck is amazing. She has high expectations because she cares." One of her peers noted that Amy's initiatives to showcase and engage her students' ideas culminated in the founding of the first TED CCSSM Community Conference. In addition to being a founding member of the TEDx community, Dr. Scheck also founded Lean In, Women in Science, which features prominent women to encourage girls in the science field. One of her former students commented that, "My experience in Dr. Scheck's class was valuable both inside and out of the classroom." Dr. Scheck holds a BS from the University of Michigan, an MS from the University of Maryland, and a PhD from North Carolina State University. Dr. Scheck, we celebrate your outstanding professional achievement and salute your demonstrated commitment to great teaching and inspiring a new generation of learners. In honoring you, we also acknowledge the more than 14,000 dedicated faculty members who teach over 220,000 students throughout the University of North Carolina.
Good morning, students, faculty, staff, families, and friends of NCSSM. On behalf of academic programs, I bring congratulations to the class of 2018. Since we have no class rank or valedictorian, our student speaker at commencement is selected from speeches submitted by members of the class. A committee of faculty and staff reviewed all entries to determine which speech most uniquely captured the NCSSM experience. I am pleased to introduce the student speaker for the class of 2018. Our speaker is from Concord, North Carolina, and attended Cox Mill High School prior to attending NCSSM. She mentioned that NCSSM has made her more independent and self-directed. She has explored a wide range of opportunities academically, as well as participating in the American Sign Language Club and performing in our chorale and the chamber choir. She specifically mentioned that Mr. David Stuntz is awesome, and we agree completely. She appreciates all her friends in Royal, as well as her SLIs, Kanisha and Anna. She has learned a tremendous amount from Dr. Tim Anglin in chemistry during her leadership position as his TA and in class. Finally, she gave a big shout out to our amazing NCSSM counseling team, especially Mr. Scott Schwartz. They are an extremely dedicated group. She will continue her remarkable journey at the University of Pennsylvania as she studies to become a nurse. Her parents, Dave and Nancy, her brother Kyle, and her grandparents are with us today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to your class of 2018 student speaker, Erin Bass.
Good morning, honored guests, NCSSM faculty and staff, family, friends, students, and most importantly, fellow members of the class of 2018. I am so grateful to share this moment with you. I'm sure we each remember the day we were accepted to NCSSM. I certainly do. I was sitting at home in front of the computer, anxiously refreshing the application page just as the results went live. And then I just stared, shocked that I'd finally made it. Later, when we walked on campus junior year, we came ready to seize every opportunity presented to us, including the opportunity to sign up for 15 clubs at the first club fair and proceed to drop most of them. During our time at NCSSM, we've accomplished remarkable things, working hard to learn about challenging topics like biomedical engineering and organic chemistry, and leading clubs and seminars. Some of us have done research, while others have competed locally, nationally, and even internationally. Together, we've helped reduce NCSSM's carbon footprint, engage the community in cultural awareness and acceptance initiatives, and campaign for issues that matter to us. I couldn't be prouder to stand alongside people filled with such passion and strength of character. But for all our successes, we have also struggled. Whether we received a first B, experienced rejections from mentorship, research, or that dream school, or simply struggled to fit in, we have each faced our own challenges at NCSSM. For many of us, this has been our first time living away from home, forcing us to become more independent, more aware, and more self-motivated. And still, every late night spent grinding out physics homework or trying to finish an Amsted essay tested that motivation to keep pushing on. In those moments, when even the hardest work didn't pay off, I often wondered why I began in the first place. But overall, I've found that it's far too easy to let my shortcomings rob me of my worth. And as we each wrestle with the question, does this world need people like me? I hope we can all come to the same conclusion. It absolutely does. Sure, we're bright. That's how we got into science and math. But each and every one of us has made it here today because we are far more than that. We are the creators, the innovators, the fighters, and the dreamers. I look around and see artists who are passionate about telling stories too often overlooked. I see scientists who will find alternative energies and new ways to prevent disease. I see future policymakers who will tackle social issues like workplace discrimination and income inequality. We haven't gotten here by standing on the sidelines, but rather by refusing to give up or give in when faced with a challenge. This world, it doesn't need the perfect people, the blameless, the flawless, or the infallible. This world needs each and every one of us, people who have made mistakes and kept on going in spite of and because of all that we have learned. So I hope that when we look back on our years at SMATH, we see more than our darkest moments or our wildest successes. I hope we see all that it's made us to be, a community that cares for and supports one another, that stands up for what we believe in, that works hard and dreams big, and most of all, that does. So, class of 2018, may we go forth and do, as students of experience and as messengers of hope. The world needs us. Let's go show them why. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Yao, and it's been an honor to serve as your student body president this year. When I first heard about our commencement speaker, Dr. Billy Pizer, I was drawn to his exceptional work and accomplishments in the field of environmental economics and public policy. Dr. Pizer has served as a senior economist at the White House Council of Economic Affairs, as well as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Environment and Energy at the U.S. Department of Treasury. He currently holds joint appointments as a professor in the Sanford School of Public Policy at Duke University and as a faculty fellow in the Nicholas Institute for Environmental Policy Solutions. Through a TED Talk Dr. Pizer had given at NCSSM back in 2012, I was able to hear him speak about his own experiences at NCSSM as a class of '86 alum, as well as his journey through college and beyond. Dr. Pizer spoke of his fascination with the Black-Scholes model in economics and how this helped him realize that the tools of science and math could be applied to solve problems in the social sciences and public policy, and not just in the natural sciences. What resonated with me the most was when Dr. Pizer mentioned how when he was attending NCSSM over 30 years ago, he never would have thought he would end up where he is now. As graduating seniors, we're filled with uncertainty about our future, going to college, and what is to come next. Hearing about Dr. Pizer's experiences, applying what he learned at NCSSM to discover what he is truly passionate about, gives me reassurance that we will be able to do the same. I know that his words will provide us with valuable insight and guidance as we look forward to the future. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Pizer.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. I want to start my remarks by congratulating all the students. You've made it. But equally important, I want to thank the parents, faculty, and staff for the great job they've done getting you to this point. My own kids are quite young. Hi, Micah and Sam. I sometimes get a little emotional when I do these things, so you'll just have to bear with me. My own kids are pretty young, but it's pretty clear that getting them all the way through high school will take quite a bit of parenting time and effort. Of course, we do that because we love them. To the faculty and staff, what can I say? Those I knew when I was here were some of the most amazing people I've ever met. To put in so much time and effort to your students day after day and year after year, there is no other word besides amazing that really comes to mind. Parents, teachers, and staff, let's please give them another round of applause. It's hard to believe that it's been 32 years since I sat where you are now. Literally where you are now, probably in one of those chairs. They probably have the same chairs. It's particularly hard to believe because now, 32 years later, I live about a mile from here, and I still run laps around East Campus just like I did running cross country. The big difference is that now I run inside the stone wall on this nice packed dirt path, whereas when I was in high school, we used to run around the outside dodging the tree roots. So I guess that's a little bit of progress. But it really has been 32 years, and despite living just a mile away, I feel like I've wandered quite a bit, both figuratively and literally. Looking back, I've been incredibly lucky. There are also a few lessons buried in that wandering, and I thought I might share a few minutes of reflections about that this morning. One of the luckiest things that happened to me, and I would predict to you, was coming to science and math. Naturally, you learn a lot of science and math, right? But more generally, you've spent a lot of time figuring out how things work. When I think back, that's what I always loved about science. Chemical reactions, genetics, mechanical forces, electricity. It's exciting being able to understand the basic building blocks of the natural world. Figuring out how things work, that is really a skill. And more specifically, whether you realize it or not, you are used to the idea of thinking about things in the world in terms of models. And that is an incredibly powerful perspective. Let me give you an example. Most of you are probably familiar with the idea of critical mass, where a nuclear chain reaction becomes self-sustaining. Less mass, the reaction dies out. Critical mass, it's sustaining. More than critical mass, boom. If you think about it, though, there are a lot of other phenomena that have this property. I was at a commencement event at Duke 2 weeks ago, and at some point during a speech, a couple of people stood up and started to clap. And there was kind of this awkward moment. Were more people going to stand up and clap, or were those people going to sit down? Well, ultimately, everyone stood up and clapped. They reached a critical mass. Or think about when you see somebody breaking in line. You and the other faithful rule followers give them a mean look. No critical mass, the line remains. Alternatively, maybe more and more people start breaking in line. Pandemonium, critical mass. Bank runs and financial crises, the Ebola epidemic in West Africa, these events are all critical mass phenomena. They sizzle a bit and die down, or they become full-scale problems. This model is one example from a book by Tom Schelling, a Nobel laureate in economics. He shows how patterns of physical behavior often appear in other domains. This is useful because if we recognize patterns, we can make a prediction. One of the most amazing things to watch when I was at the Treasury Department in 2008 was how leaders in the US government, perhaps alone among governments around the world, recognized the seriousness of the unfolding financial crisis. Essentially, it was an unfolding nuclear chain reaction about to go critical, and they took extraordinary efforts to contain it. This was, in fact, the thing that attracted me to economics. The idea that I could use models just like I used in physics, chemistry, and biology, but applied to human and social systems and problems. That was kind of previewed by my introduction. And this is my first point, really, a reflection since over the last 30 years. You've gained this amazing skill, and that is to look at the world through the lens of science, through the lens of there being models and rules and laws that can explain behavior if you can just recognize them. You should be proud of that, you should build on that, and you should make use of that in the world. Another thing I learned at Science and Math was the idea of taking risks in order to create opportunities. When I came to Science and Math, I was a pretty nerdy kid. I think my wife and kids, and certainly my sister, would probably say not much has changed. But coming to Science and Math, I decided to branch out a little bit, push myself to try things I had not tried before outside my comfort zone where I thought there was value. I tried out for a sports team, something I'd never done before. To give you some idea of my reputation for athletics in my own family, at least, I can tell you how my sister reacted when she first saw that my kids were pretty good at soccer and basketball. She confidently told me that athletic skill skips a generation. But at Science and Math, I joined the cross-country and track teams. I was not great. The track coach famously told me I had run a great 200 meters in what was a 400-meter race. In any case, I was on the team, I ran, and interestingly, 32 years later, I still run. Probably thanks to that, I'm in better health than I would be otherwise. There was value. I also became involved in student government. I liked the idea of trying to change things I cared about, and it seemed like learning to work with government, in this case student government, was a valuable skill. There were not huge risks. Failure meant losing a race or not being very effective in student government. I think the main thing I was working on at my time in student government was trying to make it so students could check out vans on the weekends to go to the shopping mall. I'm not sure if that ever worked or if you can still do that, but that was what I was working on. All of these relatively small risks paved the way to take bigger risks later on. For example, After I finished my PhD in economics, I went to work at a think tank in Washington called Resources for the Future. Doing a PhD basically trains you to do one thing, to come up with ideas, to do research, and then publish those ideas for other PhDs. When I went to RFF, this was basically what I've been trained to do. Early in my career at RFF, I did actually have an idea, a new model, if you will. Some of you may have heard of emissions trading, or cap and trade. This is where you require polluters to hold a permit for each ton of pollution that they emit, and then the government issues a fixed number of permits, allows the firms to buy and sell those permits before they get used. To be clear, cap and trade was not my idea. That came up in the 1960s, before I was even born. But my idea related to a problem with cap and trade. What if there were a shortage of permits and the permits became very expensive? Suppose we have to shut down a nuclear reactor for safety reasons, or maybe it's a very hot summer or a summer day like it is right now, and you have to run your coal plants more to produce electricity. Yes, we want cleaner air, but not at an exorbitant cost, particularly if we were talking about a transient event. So what if the government decided to sell some extra permits at some fixed ceiling price? That was my idea. We ended up calling it a safety valve, though some environmentalists derided it as an escape hatch. And we can talk later about naming your ideas and marketing in public debates. But in any case, this was an innovative idea in environmental economics, and I quickly worked to publish that idea in a journal. But it was also an idea that interested stakeholders. At the time, a variety of business and environmental advocates were struggling to enact new environmental regulations, and they needed ideas. I had a tremendous opportunity to travel around and explain this idea of a safety valve. But it felt risky. It was very much outside my comfort zone. Talking to business and environmental stakeholders, all sorts of different people than I was used to, being interviewed for news articles or speaking on the radio, even on TV and some obscure cable channel in Asia. Failure meant not just embarrassing myself, but I was worried about harming a career I just started. On the other hand, the potential reward of learning some new skills that were useful and maybe having a real impact on the issues I studied seemed like it might be worth it. A bigger risk, but a bigger reward. Something that I had tried out already in high school. So surprise, I enjoyed doing these activities and I was occasionally okay at it. I definitely embarrassed myself, usually speaking about things that I knew just enough about to get into some trouble. But on the other hand, I can also see places where my ideas, like the safety valve, eventually made their way into policy. More importantly, these early forays into public policy led me to serve in government and eventually to a school of public policy. In hindsight, it's easy to see I seized an important opportunity back in 1997 and I took some risk. And that's my second reflection this morning. Look for and seize opportunity even if there are risks. Don't be afraid of messing up. So the last thing I want to talk about this morning is a bit different. Something fairly new to me, and in this way it's a little bit of a risk. As most of you guys have figured out, I'm an economist and I work on environmental policy. Other areas of public policy have always interested me, but I basically decided that I have my area of expertise and that's where I should focus. Focus on what I know, let other people work on other problems. Until recently. Unless you've been living under a rock, you're probably familiar with the Black Lives Matter movement, the Me Too movement, and of course things like North Carolina's HB 2. Perhaps you even read the paper this morning about Harvey Weinstein's arrest. All of these things relate to the notion of structural inequality in society. Earlier this year, a colleague at Duke gave a talk on structural inequality that really affected my thinking. My interpretation, and I'm not an expert, is that the notion of structural inequality recognizes that everything in the basic fabric of society is inherently tilted to favor some people over others, and typically not people from marginalized identities or backgrounds. I would put it this way. Throughout my life, I think I've worked pretty hard. And all along the way, I've had help. Teachers, mentors, friends, even students. The help and support that came to me partly reflected my effort and skills, but it also reflected my ability to connect with those people, sometimes because of shared identities. And it reflected their opinion of me, which may at least initially be influenced by how I look or how I dress. For example, one of my closest friends in Washington and a longtime mentor is someone I met when I first came to Resources for the Future in 1996. His office was next to mine. He had already had a career that intrigued me, mingling high-level government service, policy work, and academic writing, exactly what I wanted to do and ended up doing over the years. He was also a white, straight Jewish guy. I'm reasonably sure he would have been equally welcoming if I had been a black, non-Jewish gay woman. He's a really wonderful person. But what I have been is comfortable. At the time, and probably even today, there were no other people of color on the research staff. Another example comes from an article I just read yesterday. The University of Southern California just removed its use of student evaluations in faculty tenure cases. Why? Multiple studies suggest that student evaluation inherently favors white men over women and minority faculty members. If you're interested in learning more about the origins of this sort of bias, I encourage you to look up the implicit association test, or IAT, when you have a chance. So I guess it really just struck me, listening to this talk earlier in the year, that my life probably would have been a lot different if I were a black gay woman, even starting from exactly the same place in 1986 when I graduated here. This may seem like a pretty obvious point to many of you. The obvious point is that society does not present the same opportunities to everyone. The subtler point for me was applying the notion to myself. I am where I am today partly because I'm a white, Jewish, straight guy. And this leads me to my last point, reflecting on these last 32 years, that I wanted to share with you. Don't be complacent. Don't sit on the sidelines of important social challenges. I happen to think structural inequality is a problem in the United States, and I'm beginning to think about things I can do as a teacher and faculty member to mitigate the problem. I'd like other people to think about that too. But the bigger point is we face a lot of societal challenges in the United States right now. They are not going to be solved by everyone picking their thing to work on, like environmental policy in my case, and then becoming complacent about other things and assuming other people will take care of it. We must all constantly pay attention to the things we care about and get involved. So here we are. You are all to be congratulated. Your parents are to be congratulated and thanked. The faculty, especially, congratulated and thanked. But let me maybe think about these things as you go forward. Realize and be proud of what you've done. You've learned to look at the world through the lens of science and math, through the lens of models. Keep developing those tools. Go out and use them. But don't just stay in your comfort zone. Seize and create opportunities to try new things and take risks. And please, do not sit on the sidelines of society right now. We need everyone, particularly science and math graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pizer, for your remarks and for joining us here today. We want to present you with an original Joe Lyles print of NCSSM engraved with your name on it. So
wow.
Congratulations and thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Williams, you want to join me up here? All right, well, it's this time to present some diplomas. All right. Chairman Williams, I present to you the class of 2018. Awarding their diplomas signifies that they have completed all requirements for graduation as set forth by the NCSSM Board of Trustees. Will the graduating class please rise?
Dr. Roberts, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and this school, which serves the people of North Carolina, I accept your recommendation and authorize the presentation of these diplomas. Congratulations.
So, seniors, you can be seated except for the first row. As we would like to appropriately and respectfully honor all of these extraordinary graduates as they accept their diplomas, if you would, please hold your applause and any individual display of support, however unique or exuberant it might be, until the last diploma is presented so we don't miss someone's name being called. Thank you very much. At this time, Dr. Scheck and Dr. Hudson will help present the diplomas.
Joshua Aaron Abrams. Mark Joseph Aiello. Christina Marie Alpiri. Vibhu Kishan Ambil. Maya Enid Anderson Badillo. Elena Michelle Arnholt. Araceli Artiega. Hyunjun Be. Mehek Bani Bajaj. Sarah Elizabeth Baldwin. Michelle Bow. Erin Margaret Bass. Taylor Marie Beeman. John Paul Benson. Erwin Ely Barris. Elizabeth Grace Byer. Arushi Biswas. Jason Thomas Blaisdell. Wesley Wade Block. Ritvik Bhattacharla. Ariana Grace Brennan. Polly Bridges. Emily Morgan Brinson. Madison M. Brown. Nia Danielle Brown. Tyler Scott Brown. Sarah Elizabeth Campbell. Lou Chow. Anthony Michael Caropolo. Alexander Goodyear Caruth. Benjamin Reese Carter. Savannah Greer Carey. Marilyn Lee Catherwood. Henry Thomas Chapman. Danny B. Chow. Anthony Theodore Cheek. Alyssa Katie Chen. Angela Chen. Henry Yuang Chen. Jessica Tang Chen. Susine Chen. Wanyi Chen. Emma Christensen. Jesus Osvaldo Cisneros Estrada. Henry Brannon Claxton. Catherine Elizabeth Clayton. Taylor Allen Cochran. Joshua Adam Cogdell. Christian David Colby. Josie Greer Cooper. Thomas A. Cope. Abigail Marie Culberson. Matthew L. Dye. Amy Sutton Dalsimer. Catherine Margaret Danis. Cameron Edward Dennis. George Dimitrov. Jonah Eli Dixon. Audrey Elizabeth Dockendorf. Elikam P. Dodor. Raymond Dong. Jewel Chamberlain Drake. Mallory Quinn Dufour. Rajiv Ranajit Dutta. Chloe Bradshaw Eaton. Tyler Grace Edwards. Henri Jeriche Benedict Egbe. Shelby Elizabeth Elder. William Austin Elder. Emma Irene Eldridge. Gage Orion Ellis. Lucas Craig Embry. Carla Francisca Escobar Tomlinovich. Anna Marie Caitlin Eustace. Jackson Long Evans. Emily Christine Felice. Elizabeth Margaret Farmer. Avi Liam Feldman. Richard Jackson Fernandez. James Ashwin Fitzhenley. Taylor Ann Flock. Evan Ling Flincham. Theodore Carl France. Nalin Bhakta Gaddis. Jackson S. Gardner. Paris Reed Giolis. Cordelia Jane Gilligan. Samantha Christine Gonski. Anne Madeline Gruff. Lindsay A. Green. Ryan Greenblatt. James Victor Greason. Angela Caroline Kwan. Bethany Marie Hapgood. Myers Langlian Harbinson. Eli Alden Hardwig. William Madry Harrell. Erin Nicole Harrell. Eiley Eslin Hartzell Jordan. Megan T. Hastings. Scout Hayashi. Madison Grace Hartley. Mackenzie Donovan Hevlin. Hope Ellen Christine Hickman. Brenner Scott Hicks. Kathleen Joyce Vogel. William Michael Hitchcock. Mary Catherine Hochberg. Aidan Scott Hochstein. William Beasley Holland. Emily Christine Holmes. Willa Karis Holt. Sarah Elizabeth Hoover. Belinda Yijing Hu. Jilin Huang. Forrest Eli Hurley. Moshe Ikechukwu. Devin Kell Yonke. Keshav Sai Javadi, Wanya Jia, Kevin Jin, Kylie Nicole Johnson, Hayrim Ju, Anindo Jody, Swathi Karthik, Elise Marta Kaufman, Robert Franklin Keener IV, Kirsten Joanna Keeler, Jonathan Ryan Kelly, Joshua Charles Kersey, Ava Jerahi Kincaid, Mary Costello Klinzak, Daniel William Kosea, Fatima Abdeljawad Konso, Siona Garg Shirsagar, Archit Sanjay Kulkarni, Keshav Dilip Kumar, James Robert Larkins, Giannina Elizabeth Lash, Hyunho Lee, Miles Jefferson Lee, Sion Samuel Lee, Zach Tang Lee, Tafwi Monique Legard, Giovanni Raj Leone, Karenna Grace Levin, Alexander Gray Lewis, Housie Lee, Helen Lee, Isabella Zoe Lee, Samuel B. Lee, Justin Yuchen Liang, Lauren Somin Lim, Vanessa Leanne Lin.
Yukila Kaylee Faith Little, Sophia Ja Luo, Matthew Dennis Mabe, Gandhar Kedar Mahadeshwar, Sucheta Malati, Shrikar Montana, Alexander James Marine, Levi William Marland, Riley Nicole Martins, Riley Martine, Gabrielle Catherine Marushak, Emily Caroline Moyer, William Jackson MacArthur, Joseph Auguste McCarty, Wyeth McKinley, Leah Nicole McLean, Tamar McMahon, Abigail Sky McNaughton, Faith Ashley Merritt, Chelsea M. Middleton, Sierra Danielle Miles, Jonah Anthony Miller, Lindsay Marie Mims, Matthew Ray Mims, Henry Penn Moffett, Christopher Davis Moncla, David Josue Mora, Karna Ashwin Moray, Benjamin Franklin Morris III, Rachel Ann Morrow, Fawota Michaela Mortu, Benjamin Thomas Mall, Jonathan Andrew Mall, Margaret Ann Munt, Matthew Alexander Murray, Gregory Johnston Murrell, Guyon Nam, Adele Marie Nambudri, Sean Timothy Jamse Navarro, Kirsten Elaine Neely, Alyssa Renee Nelson, Sarah Christine Nelson, Hannah Gray Nettles, Billy M. No, Benjamin Daniel Nichols, Enzo Moretti Nieber, Sumani Nuna, Noble Obodum, Mitchell Dualo Odiambo, Anamia Olua Annalise Ojo, Kaylina Ann Otero, Gahao Pong, Madeline Marie Paoletti, Brianna Louise Paris, Christina H. Park, Deborah Jen Park, Anjali Sanjay Patel, Meghna Patel, Nikar Patel, Sahil Samir Patel, Shiv Patel, Tanisha Lily Paul, Joshua Christopher Perry, Chaska Nazareth Phelps, Chloe Madeline Piquel, Sean Isaac Porch, Sindhuri Polavaram, Felice Vincenzo Policastro, Haley Grace Porter, Cecilia Davis Poston, Worth Henderson Powell, Nina Prabhu, Tiffany Kehoe Prada, Anna Gray Price, Papacha Purcell, Ayush Purohit, Yaron Chi, Gideon Carter Raintree, Adithi G. Rao, Sarah Evans Reynolds, Carrington Brooke Rogers, Kinley Alexis Rosman, Gulam Setha, Bradley Gerald Samples, Diana Sharon Sanchez, William Adrian Sanchez, Sophia Sanchez Zarate, Kevin David Schisline, Andrew Bryson Shield, Stephen Paul Schmidt III, Sarah Catherine Schuler, Javier Devon Scott, Keshav Shah, Christopher Shella II, Anya Mara Shepard, Erica A. Shinpaw, Maggie Lee Shoup, Luke Nicholas Simmers, Aman Singh, Yasharth Singh, Tanay Singhal, Laura Elizabeth Sink, Vaishnavi Siripurapu, Stonewall Thomas Sisk, Brandon Scott Sluss, Thomas Shaw Smith, Esther Sun, Gustavo Sosa Macias, Kobe Alexander Spells, Emily Spiro, Akshay Sridharan, Grace Marie Steffen, Abigail Leanne Stevens, John David Stevens, Jonathan David Stepp, Hannah Michelle Sturtzbach, Alexander John Stewart, Spencer Parks Story, Ashwin Bala Subramaniam, Christina Marie Tan, David Chai Tong, Sarah Tian, Kim Sian Selena Thieu, Anya Sky Tucker, Catherine Elaine Turk, Angia Iman Voliani, Rovik Rafael Salido Villamore, Avery Rose Wall, Edward Allen Walter, Janie Jianing Wang, Julia Jaya Wang, Kevin Daniel Wong, Jalen Tyrell Little Watley, Emily Wynn, Shelby Grace Westbrook, Hannah Lynn Wilson, Shantharam Allen Wilson, Sawyer Quinn Wofford, Tatiana Joy Wolf, Hunter Jameson Wood, Alexa Lauren Woodard, Azaria Nicole Woods, Baamlak Desalang Warku, Emma Leanne Wright, Vincent Shuilong Shah, Alexander Wei-Li Shang, Aiden Yanko, Nina Yao, Stephanie Shaoru Yao, Jesu Yu, Desta Abraham Yosef, Tyler Charles Youngberg, Ellen Yu, Raven Klein Yurtal, Jackie Zhang, John Zhang, Kevin Zhang, Michael Zhang, Tony Zhang.
Tony, it's your moment. You gotta ham it up.
Well, let me present to you the newest alumni of the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, the class of 2018. So I again want to take the opportunity to thank Dr. Pizer and Ms. Burris-Floyd, family members, graduates, and faculty, members of our boards of trustees, foundation board, alumni board, parent association. Class of 2018, it's about that time to leave Watts Lawn for the first time as alumni of NCSSM. I hope that as you go forward throughout the years, you will remember the opportunity that has been given to you these past 2 years by this great state and through the support of the many alumni who have come before you. Remember your responsibility as the 36 classes before you have to ensure that future generations of North Carolinians have the same or even greater opportunities than you've had. When people ask me what's special about NCSSM, one of the things I always mention is the campus community. The NCSSM community is a place that everyone, all of us here, and particularly our students, help create. A place where you feel you belong, a place where you make others feel they belong, and a place where you all make each other better than you might have been otherwise. As you leave NCSSM, I encourage you to take this spirit along with your independence, entrepreneurial drive, your sense of justice, to the communities that you will brighten in the future. There's a lot of what you have that's needed wherever you will go. It's hard to know what to say at the very end of a commencement. So I'd like to borrow from an ending written by someone whose words are probably familiar to all of you, J.K. Rowling. From the Chamber of Secrets. The rest of the final term passed in a haze of blazing sunshine. Too soon it was time for the journey home on the Hogwarts Express. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Fred, George, and Ginny got a compartment to themselves. They made the most of the last hours in which they were allowed to do magic before the holidays. The Hogwarts Express slowed and finally stopped. Harry pulled out his quill and a bit of parchment and turned to Ron and Hermione. "This is called a telephone number," he told Ron, scribbling it twice, tearing the parchment in two and handing it to them. They got off the train and joined the crowd thronging toward the enchanted barrier, and together they walked back through the gateway to the Muggle world. So I hope you will appreciate and continue to cherish the relationships you've made While you may not write them on a piece of parchment paper and give them to one another, make sure that they're in your friend's phone so that you can stay together in the years to come. And we will all miss you greatly at NCSSM. And I again want to say congratulations to the class of 2018, and go Unis. Everyone here is invited to the commencement reception hosted by the NCSSM Parents Association and the families of our junior students on Bryan Lawn. So let's please stand to honor our new graduates of the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, class of 2018, as they recess.